Hello everyone, I am Kiza and I am the one who assigned to discuss to you about the Eskimo language. But first, let me give you a short background about the Eskimo. Eskimo is an English term for indigenous people who traditionally inhabited the northern circumpolar region from eastern Siberia to across Alaska, Canada, and Greenland. The language that Eskimo use is called Inuktitut. The Inuktitut syllabic or Konuyakpait is an Abugida type writing system used in Canada by the Institute speaking Inuit of the territory of Nunavut and the Nunavik Regional in Quebec. The first effort to write Inuktitut came from the Moravian missionaries in Greenland and Labrador in the mid-19th century using Latin script. The first printed book in Inuktitut using the Cree script were selections from the Gospel in the dialogue of the Inuktitut of Little Whale River. It is very interesting alphabet, right? The first thing that you need to note is that the Inuktitut alphabet or Konuyakpait using Abugida, which is a typewriting system that you modify the letter to add a vowel sound. In Inuktitut, you have to basically rotate the letter you have to change the position of a letter to indicate the vowel that comes after the consonant, like the first letter which is silent and it is used as a standalone vowel that is basically a triangle that if it's pointing on left, it make an A sound. If pointing up, it make the I sound. And if pointing right, it makes the U sound. So here's how to write the letter. Next is pa, which is a P sound that its shape is similar to the silent letter just without the base of the triangle. The orientation of this silent letter is the same, so here is how to write the pa. Next is letter ta. It makes the T sound. Its shape is very similar to pa, but it is more curved rather than the shape of P. It has the same orientation as the first two. So here's how to write ta. The next letter is ka, which makes a K sound. Its position looks like a lowercase b, but if you flip upside down, it becomes ki. If you flip it by its side and upside down, it becomes ku. Here's how to write ka. The next letter is ga. It makes the G sound. When it's aligned in the A form, it looks like a horizontally flipped J. If you flip it horizontally, you get the gu. And if you flip it upside down, you get the gi. Here's how to write the ga. Next letter is ma. It makes the M sound. It looks like the L in the A form. If you flip upside down, you get me. And if you flip it horizontally and vertically, you get mu. Here's how to write the ma. Next is na, which makes an N sound. It looks like a narwhal whale in the A form. If you flip it upside down, you get ni. And if you flip it vertically and horizontally, you get nu. This is how to write na. The next letter is sa, which make the S sound. If flip upside down, you get si. If flip upside down and flip again, you get su. This is how to write sa. Next is la. It makes the L sound. If you flip it upside down, you get li. And if you flip it upside down and flip it again, you get lu. This is how to write la. Next is ya, which makes a J sound, and it's look like Yankee basketball player. It is not pronounced as za, but letter like Balkan J, which pronounce ya. If you flip it upside down, you get yi, and if you flip it upside down and flip it, you get you. Next is va, which make a V sound. It looks like a V pointed to the left in the A form with a small loop at the bottom part. If it pointed up, it is a V, and if pointed right, it is a vu. Here's how to write va. The next is ra, which make the R sound, and it's like a broken question mark sign. If it's pointing up, it is ri, and if it's pointing to the right, it is ru. This is how to write ra. The next is ka, which make a Q sound. It is a ka but a little raw at the top left. If you flip it upside down, you get ki. If you flip it upside down and flip it, you get ku. Here's how to write ka. The next is nga, which make the ng sound. It is ga with a small na with a hook-like tail on the top right. If you flip it, you got ni, and if you flip it upside down and flip it, you got ngu. Here's how to write nga. The next one is nga, which make a similar sound like nga, but the n is longer. It is the same as nga, but there are two loops instead of one. If you flip nga upside down, you get ngi. If you flip it upside down and flip it, you get ngu. Here's how to write nga. And finally, there is hla. It is pronounced by putting the tongue at the upper teeth and then pushing air through the side of the tongue, like hla, hla. It is the la, but it has a small diagonal line on the end of the line. If you turn upside down, you get hli, and if you turn upside down and flip it, you get hlu. This is how to write hla. So here is the Inuktitut vowels and consonants. The Inuktitut alphabet has 46 letters and 15 finals. It is divided into 4 columns. If you learn the first column, it is easier to learn the other columns. Let's try to sing the Inuktitut song. The Inuktitut alphabet songs begin with the left column, then moves to the right, followed by the third column. And finally, the phrase Inuktituro na lukpunga finishes the song.
Inuktituro na lukpunga.
It means I can now speak in Inuktitut. Note that the phrase Inuktituro na lukpunga has the root word Inuktitut.
Inuktituro na lukpunga.
Try then to memorize the second portion.
Inuktituro na lukpunga. Let's learn to sing the song. I will sing the song first, and then we'll learn to sing it together. Try and listen to the sound each letter makes. Ready? Ipitiki yemini sili yevere qingqle uputuku mono solo yovoro qongqlo apatakaga mana salayavara qangaqla inuktituro na lukpunga. Alright, let's learn the song together. We'll divide each column into 3 sections. Ipitiki yemini sili yevere qingqle. E P T Ki Ri Mi Ni Ipitiki yemini Si Li Ye Ve Re Si Li Ye Ve Re Qe Nye Hle Qingqle U Pu Tu Ku Ru Mu Nu Uputuku Mono Su Lu Yu Vo Ro Solo Yu Vo Ro Ko Ngo Hlo Qongqlo A Pa Ta Ka Ga Ma Na Apatakaga Mana Sa La Ya Va Ra Salayavara Ka Nga Hla Qangaqla Inuktituro na lukpunga. Inuktito hunalek bunga. Alright, let's sing the song together again. This time we'll sing it normally. Ipitiki yemini sili yevere kengekle uputuku mono solo yovoro kongoklo apatakaga mana salayavara kangakla inuktito hunalek bunga.
Wow, congratulations! You did a great job! Now let's forward to the Inuktitut grammar. To introduce yourself, you can add the affix u to the end of your name, followed by the verb ending yunga. The affix u means to be. When it is added to a root that ends in a k or a q, it deletes the final consonant. The examples are indicated on the chart. Adding u to the names coming from the language like English can sound quite awkward in Inuktitut. If as such, a name ends in a vowel, it usually isn't a problem. But if the name ends in a consonant, ngu is used instead of u to make the pronunciation easier. To ask someone their name, you start with the root kina, it means who. You then add the affix u to the end of kina, followed by the question ending zip. Now let's move forward to the simple verb ending. The verb roots in Inuktitut describes action or states of being. The verb ending tells us who is performing the action. In the above word, taku describes the action of seeing and the verb ending yunga describes who is seeing. By using different verb ending, we can talk about different people doing the same action. Here are some examples of different verb endings. The verb ending that is highlighted in blue in the previous slide can be added to any roots that ends in a vowel. Remember, Inuktitut has 3 vowels, the e, u, and a. If the root ends in any other letter, we change the j that begins in each of these verbs ending to t. In English, a verb must always be accompanied by a word to indicate who is doing the action. The highlighted words above are called personal pronouns. Inuktitut has personal pronouns although they aren't used as much as in English for reasons that will be explained. So let's start with the simplest personal pronouns. It is important to remember that Inuktitut verb always indicates who is doing the action through the verb ending. It is because the verb ending already tells us who is doing an action. Personal pronouns are redundant and aren't normally used. Where personal pronouns are used is when you are talking about a person or an object without a verb, and you are adding emphasis. Please notice the use of the 2 little endings, the li and the lu. Li is used in conversation when you want to change the person or object you are talking about. Lu is an ending meaning and or to. In Inuktitut, the plural is used to talk about more than 2 of any noun. The plural form always ends in t. Depending on the speaker, the plural ends used may be it or just t. Here are the given examples. The Inuktitut noun are marked for case and numbers. This is no gender marking. All languages make a distinction between singular and plural noun. But some languages, like Inuktitut, also use inflectional morphology to indicate dual numbers when there are exactly 2 of something, as in the following examples. Pronouns. The pronominal system of Inuit consists of personal, interrogative, and demonstrative pronouns. Inuit has 2 forms of the third-person pronoun. One that corresponds to the third person in European language, and an obviative form. These help to disambiguate the antecedent of his in a sentence, such as Tommy gave Jerry his ball. Let's proceed to verbs. Inuit verbs have a highly developed system of grammatical marking. A single inflected verb can constitute a sentence. These are the given example. Verbs fall into two categories, specific and non-specific. There are many verbs, however, that belongs to both categories. Specific verbs have definite objects. They take the suffixes that indicate the grammatical person of both the subject and the object, but not their grammatical numbers. The normal word order is subject, object, verb. Inuktitut is a language that only has noun and verb categories with noun and verb roots. In terms of affixes, there are only suffixes. Nouns are free morphemes, whereas verb are bound morphemes and must have an affix attached. An example of a bound verb can be seen in this figure, where the affix yara is attached and interestingly contains meaningful information about both the subject and the object of the verb. These affixes attach to roots and count as agreement. For this reason, these affixes project their features via the node label convention. Eastern Canadian dialects of Inuktitut have 15 consonants and 3 vowels. Consonants are arranged with 5 places of articulation: bilabial, alveolar, palatal, velar, and ovular. The 3 manners of articulation are voiceless, stops, voice continuance, and nasal, as well as the 2 additional sounds, voiceless fricatives. In addition, all dialects of Inuktitut have only 3 basic vowels and make a phonological distinction between short and long forms of all vowels. Inuit has a tendency not to borrow words from other languages, but to build them from native elements. New words are typically formed from native and borrowed roots by the addition of various suffixes. The vocabularies of different varieties shows different influences. For instance, varieties spoken in Siberia have borrowed words from Russian. Inuktitut spoken in Canada uses many English words, while Inuktitut in Greenland shows extensive influence of Danish.